Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before we start this meeting tonight, I would ask that we all take a moment of silence for the people who lost their lives in the tragedy in 9/11 back in New York. So if we can all bow our heads and just take a moment of silence for the people who gave their lives that day. Thank you. I'd now like to call the village board meeting for Tuesday, September 11th, 2012. I'd like to call it to order. May we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy, can we have a roll call, please? Present.
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 Present. Present.
All right, moving down into number 4, any presentations tonight?
None.
Going into number 5, public comment and questions. So we all may dispense by 9 o'clock. If you may come up and address the board, please give your name and address, and please keep your comments to about 3 minutes. So would anyone like to address the board? Please step forward.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cynthia Sherrod Watson, and I'm the owner of the property at 2610 Sunnyside Avenue in Westchester. I've lived here for 11 years, and shortly after moving in, I noticed that whenever it rained, we got flooded in the basement. After doing this for a couple of years, we decided to resurface our driveway, and when they came out to the pre-pour inspection, we failed it because they said that we had pitched it too high for the concrete, which was, I guess, not in accordance with your village requirement of a 4-inch rule below the foundation. The reason we were having it pitched higher obviously was because we needed to keep the water out of the house. For some reason, our backyard is lower than the 3 neighboring backyards. So whenever it rains, all the water seems to pool in our backyard. So we're trying to resurface our patio and our driveway and the sidewalk on the other side of the house, which also lets water in. So I'm here tonight to ask if you would allow us to pitch it higher so that we can keep water out of our home. I understand what your code says, but according to what we've been obviously enduring for the past 11 years, we would like to ask for some type of variance so that we can have this completed. I would like to ask also if there is a final inspection for concrete that's poured in the village.
I'm sorry, if there was a final inspection?
Yes, there's a pre-pour inspection, and I was wondering if there is a post-pour inspection.
Anthony?
Yes, if you ask for one, there is a
Okay,
final.
but is that only if it's requested?
Yes, if it's requested.
Okay, because I have pictures of homes of my neighbors that have had concrete poured recently, last summer and as well as this summer, and their concrete line is definitely above that 4-inch below the foundation mark. If any of you would like to see these pictures, I have them.
And I could show you some that are 4 inches below the 4-inch foundation line as well.
Okay, well, so then how is the code inspected? If it says 4 inches and some people are allowed to have it higher than that, where's
Most
the...
likely done without a permit.
I don't believe
If
so.
it was done on a Saturday or Sunday.
No, these are
Or the
neighbors.
driveways were...
Anthony?
full.
Anthony, if maybe what we can do for right now is if Ms. Watson would like to submit an application to the Zoning Board of Appeals and bring your case to them and let them hear it, and then we can go from there.
All right.
That might be the best way of doing it for right now, instead of us trying to hash it out right here at this board meeting.
Is that a zoning code provision, Tony, or is that a building code? Is that a zoning code provision, or is that a building code? So it wouldn't be a zoning variation, so you need to have an amendment to your village code to allow for that, so it's not a zoning issue.
So can she come before a different board than us, or?
If she needs a change in the ordinance, it would be the village board that would have to amend the building code to provide for that, so.
Just note that they are on one course, the first layer of brick on the house. That's how the driveway will be even with the first layer of brick above the foundation and the first row of brick. So that'll be even. I was concerned with the water going inside the mortar and going into the basement. That's my concern. And I'm just following our code. It said it has to be 4 inches below foundation wall. And again, we could go back and forth with this neighbor's drive or this neighbor's drive, you know. So I'm just following what's here.
How about you bring us all your information? We'll sit with Anthony, we'll go over it, and we'll put it back on another agenda here so we can make sure that we can figure out what to do with you and how to do it. As you just come up tonight with it, you know, we're really not abreast of what's going on, so let us all look at it, get our information together, and we could probably, Ms. Matthews, give you an answer about what goes on in the next couple days, okay?
All right, so
Miss-
when should I make this appointment, or can
Ms.
I-
Matthews, you can give me a call. I'm Janet Matthews, village manager, and we'll set up a meeting time.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to address the board?
Bernie Farmer, 1124 Newcastle. Here we are once again. I'm going to hand out these photos. You guys can pass them around. I'll get them from Mr. Sloan again. This is the quality of work that we expect in Westchester. As we all know, I've been here before about the lawns and stuff. Since I didn't get paid by the hour, I get paid by the job. I took everything kind of personally. I like to deliver a good product. But apparently, I was told that it doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't really matter. Well, if you don't live in a village, you don't pay taxes here, and you have no problems with collecting a paycheck, I guess it's pretty easy that you really don't care how it looks.
Not sure.
But on the bottom line was that there was miscommunication between code enforcement and the village manager, who told me to talk to code enforcement. Code enforcement talked to the village manager. I received my nice little certified letters that I was no longer available for mowing lawns. Never got to talk to the village manager after code enforcement told me to talk to her, but that's neither here nor there. You know, we try to run it as a perfect village. Since you're not paying me by the hour, I got a problem with it. It's just a job. It's a bid job. Now, my next thing is, we also had the thing about code enforcement, and we were talking about bringing revenue into the village. We were told in, I think it was June, early July, we were setting up a sting for trucks by the police department, along with Hillside. Is this September, or am I wrong? When did this thing go down? Well, you told me that you couldn't answer it before because you couldn't give me the date because of the fact that, you know, it was confidential. It was between you and Hillside. Well, we're in September, and this happened in July. You want to check the village meeting or board records? That's what you said. And we don't have it. And we haven't done this thing yet. We haven't done anything with bringing in money. I was also told that we're in, Mr. Gattuso, how long has it been since you've been out of office as president?
2009.
Okay, so what are we at, 5 years almost? Come close?
In
We
3
gave a
years.
reprieve to St. Joe's High School, right? Based on you gave a reprieve for 5 years? We were
St.
told
Joe's got an extension
For 5 years.
for 5 years on their sprinkler
their
system.
problems, and I was told that we had, excuse me, ongoing circumstances. Where are we at, 90-10? 80/20? How far is this ongoing circumstances gone? I mean, are they near completion or aren't they?
They have water to the building. They need to pipe it. They're working on it as their projects come along. They have a few more years to go by it too, Bert.
Well, I'm kind of wondering, you know, if we give a reprieve to one, then we have to give a reprieve to everybody. You know, we're setting a precedence here.
They've also installed a fully functional fire alarm system at this point as well.
It's all fully functional, everything is done.
The fire alarm system is yes.
Okay, that was the only question I had. When the last time I talked to you, you said it was ongoing, so.
The
already done.
sprinkler portion of the project is still within the realm of the agreement. They've come through with their fire alarm system according to the agreement that was set up with the village.
Well, as I've showed you in these photos, our code enforcement obviously isn't up to par at all. Now, we've transferred the person from public, whatever you want to call it, building commissioner's responsibility, we've transferred them over to the police department, whatever. As you can see by those photos, and I had to be inspected every time I mowed the lawn. Do those photos show inspections to you? And I have the agreement right here that everybody had to bid off of. And it says, all grass clippings will be picked up and disposed of. Now, for 2.5 years I've been doing this, and for 2.5 years we did it the same way. And we never had a problem. Now all of a sudden, not only is there a problem, but they're not doing their job. So my question is there rules for one set of people and rules for the other? Because when those photos, that's what I had to run into every time I got a new address. Every time there was a new address given to me, I had to clean up their mess. So how can you bid a job based on that? Clean up their mess. 926 Portsmouth, I mowed it 3 times to get all the grass clippings off and rake it. So how's that? I mean, I'm wondering. These people don't have the capabilities of even hauling this stuff. They're in vans. So does anybody want to tell me how this works? Because I'm willing to listen.
Well,
I think we're failing the people who live on either side of them. When I'm told it doesn't have to be beautiful, you know what? If this guy likes his house and this guy likes his house, what are we talking about?
Yes, it is.
What is the address of this house? Because I didn't see it.
They're all different addresses. You can go on Drury Lane. You can go on Portsmouth. You can go on Bristol. It doesn't matter. All those photos are from all the different houses. Those are the houses I used to service. That's where I made sure they look like the houses next door.
Bernie, if you can provide Janet with the addresses of these,
We'll go take a look.
then we can we can get the bring a resolution with the code enforcement, and if the vendor isn't providing inadequate service, we can remove them from our list.
Yeah, well, I got removed because I was providing the adequate service.
Bernie, you requested to be removed from the subcontract list, and we honored
Wait,
that
no,
request.
Excuse me. You told me on the phone to talk to George.
So
I turned around and talked to George. And
you
he
were
told
not
me I had to talk
complying
to
with
you.
certain aspects of the agreement, and when we asked you to come to compliance, you asked to be taken off the list.
For 2.5 years, I've done this. 2.5 years, we had no problems. None. Sam was out and back when I actually dumped the grass, okay, from the home. Now, this home one home we're talking about in particular was the one that had the mice and the rats.
Okay, again,
Now,
if
should
you
I-
give us
should
an
I have
address
left
when
that
you
there?
if you feel you see an instance of noncompliance, then provide me with the address, and I will have our code enforcement check it
All
out.
right, I did 623 Westchester Boulevard. My specific orders were to check the alley and remove whatever was there. I did. And what I found was firewood with mice and a rat in it. I called, I got a confirmation to bring it to my exact words were, I'll bring it into the yard. Now, I don't know what you call a yard, but why the heck would I clean it up to put it back in their yard? That's my problem. So I brought it back to the village hall, got confronted by not only our newest entity to our new public works director, but Tony also come out to check me too, to make sure that I had cleared it. I cleared it with George. Then they go into his office and they bust his hump. And then they come back and say, what the heck were you doing? Well, why would I take the stuff I found mice and rats in and put it back in their yard when there's 2 kids and their grandparents swimming in the pool next door? I cleaned it up, I brought it back like we normally would do. Just like any other day we've ever done it. And
Okay.
then I get told, okay, so you know what I did? I took all the rest of the grass from the rest of the day and I got rid of it on my own. And if we're going to talk about who's doing business in this village, why don't we go over to Bond and Manchester, which I reported in because I was mowing the lawn over there. Since when do we allow a trailer to sit on the street 24/7? Nobody did anything about it, and it's still there. And you've got a shed that's 2 stories tall. You've got a shed that's bigger than the house.
Same address?
Same address, on Bond and Manchester. It's taller than the house and the garage. Now, who issued the permits for that? And the guy's running a business out there. The only reason I know is because when I went over there, the waste management guy was trying to pick up 18 barrels of waste from his log splitting business, which extended all the way to the street sidewalk. Now, if we got code enforcement, where are they? Are they sitting in
If
their-
you provide the
their office?
address to Chief Padlick, who is now
I
in
just
charge
told
of
you.
code
I just made note of-
enforcement,
I
then
just
she will look
noted
into
the
it.
address, and if you have a problem with code enforcement, you pick up the phone like everybody
I
else.
did, and I called it in.
On a date and time, then you called in and gave us
I
your
called it
information.
in, right then
I'll
and there.
check that.
And nobody did nothing. The trailer's still sitting there, and the guy's still doing his job. It's for his home use. You know how much wood's over there? Pardon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The day I mowed the lawn, I have no idea. No, I don't record every date I mow every lawn. No, I don't. You know, I mean, are we running a village, or is this, what is it?
Bernie, I hear your frustration, and I understand what you're frustrated about the whole thing. I do feel that we'll take a look at all the things that you brought up tonight, and we'll address them all, see what's going on, and we'll get a grip on what's happening. If the vendor or the contractor who's doing our lawns is doing this, then it's not part of the bid process that we did from the beginning.
And how many
So-
contractors do we have, sir, that are working here still after we were told, we're gonna be on them, we're gonna make sure? So what makes me wanna buy a license or pay a $25,000 bond in this town?
Well,
What makes me wanna buy it if I'm paying for everybody else to do work here?
okay, I can say the same thing, was why do I want to buy a business license for my business if other people can run businesses out of their house and don't have to buy one? Bernie, we can all say things about what's problematic around here. But the point is, we're trying to do the best we can. You brought up some good points. We're going to go grab them, see what we can do, and get a hold of them and see what's happening. And again, like anything else, you know, this is a big village, and we need people like you to tell us what's going on out there, because we can't be everywhere at one time. And if you could see them and you get them, we'll go out there, Bernie, we'll get them for you. But
Well-
I understand your frustration about everything, and I want everything right in this village myself. You know, but, you know, we have all different angles to look at and to deal with. Can we do better? Yeah, we're gonna strive to do
Well,
better.
do we have, what I'm asking is then, do we have the people in the positions that are qualified to do the job that they are being paid to do?
Bernie,
You know what?
our
Can
people.
can I just suggest,
sorry, my
where we're
3
going
minutes
back
are
and
up.
forth,
Yeah.
My 3
Um,
minutes are up.
okay.
I got it.
Under 6, do we have any public hearings?
No, we do not.
And, I'm sorry, would anybody else want to come up to the board? Yeah, it's going to go there. Okay, no public hearings. Let's move down to number 7. The consent agenda consists of A, the record of bills, B, departmental reports, C, a resolution executing the construction engineering service agreement with Christopher Burke for the 2012 street improvement project, D, a resolution executing an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Office of Controllers. Would anybody like to pull anything?
Item C.
Item C, Brian, Wally? Same. Anybody else want to pull anything? If not, we'll need a motion and second for items A, B, and D.
So moved. Second.
Motion by trustee Yurkovich and trustee Stecker. Second by trustee Stecker.
Perry.
I'm Perry? I'm sorry. Well, close. You're next to each other. All right. May we have a roll call, please?
Aye.
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 Aye. Now for item C, we'll need a motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by trustee Yurkovich, second by trustee Novak. Discussion. Brian?
Not have anything. I just, it's part of the street projects that I'm opposed to doing prior to having the
So you want to
revenue stream prior to beginning them.
So you just want to vote on it separately, right?
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, may we have a roll?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, moving down to the active agenda. An ordinance waiving the competitive bid, authorizing the execution of a licensing agreement with AZT Corporation, doing business as Alpine Banquet Halls. We all went through this a couple weeks ago. It's about the parking at Alpine. So if there isn't any more discussion on this, maybe have a motion and a second.
So moved.
Tommy and Nikki. Any other discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this combines the prior lease for the 10 parking spaces with the license for the 5 parking spaces that was approved in 2010, but the trigger wasn't pulled on it back then for the construction of the 5 spaces. And I don't know where the permitting process is as of today, Tony, but I believe that this agreement needs to be executed prior to allowing the construction activity to be permitted.
That's correct.
Do you have the drawings and the everything you need on that?
I have the agreement with me. And then the drawings I can go back and get you.
Yeah, I think those were submitted back in 2010.
2010, November 2010, it was approved by the prior board.
That wouldn't matter.
And
It
was
was
never
required to be
executed.
renewed
Never
annually
executed.
anyway.
Was not executed.
so we would have to take a vote on that as well.
That's what is
what
included
this
in
is.
this license agreement.
Right.
That's what this motion is about, so.
Yeah, Brian?
I just noticed there's no reference, part of the agreement that we discussed in 2010 was the replacement of some trees, and Joseph had, said if we allowed him to take down the one tree on that property, that we would have additional trees planted throughout the village in their place. I'd just like to make sure that that is still part of the understanding that as we pass this, that we will have some trees planted, throughout the village to replace the one that we cut down.
Those should be added to the plans then.
Okay.
Well, the tree wouldn't be on that property.
Yeah, 'cause
The trees being planted would be elsewhere.
Could still be a condition of the plans that he's gonna do it off-site, so.
Any other discussion? Okay, Kath, can we have a roll?
Aye.
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 Aye. Passes. All right. Moving down into the manager's report.
Okay, have a few things to go over this evening. It's been a very busy week here in Westchester. Friday evening, some of you were there. We had a very hilarious game of donkey baseball where the village challenged the Park District. Staff has talked to Gary Cassanders. Oh, Greg's going to put some pictures up.
Nice.
It was quite fun. Everybody had a great time. Gary Cassanders reported back that he's getting such positive feedback from all of the residents that hopefully we'll be able to do it again next year, maybe even have resident teams. But it was a laugh riot. A little chilly out there, but no donkeys were harmed in the playing of this. donkey baseball, but a very, very good time had by all at the back to school picnic there.
Nice hat.
I'm happy to report that the village did beat the Park District 3-1. Sorry, Tom.
April,
That's
you
all
did
right.
great on there, April.
I think it was excellent coaching, that's why.
There you go.
That's right. So I continue to look at those pictures. And on Saturday, we had just a beautiful afternoon for the fountain dedication. As most of you know, that we are constructing a memorial fountain at the corner of Mannheim and Cermak. Had a nice crowd out there with representation, both village trustees and staff, library personnel, school district personnel, American Legion, the Boy Scouts, a lot of residents. It was just a beautiful, beautiful afternoon, and the fountain did start, so that's a great thing. One of the things that Mayor Puglia is in New York observing the 911 ceremony there this week, but he did ask me to read a statement we had gotten from and it's a little long, I'll read fast, from one of our residents, Mrs. Barbara Lucchese, who was the first donor to the fountain, and we're very happy she was able to attend the ceremony, escorted by our police department. We went and picked her up and made sure she got there safely. But she had written this in case she couldn't make it. It's titled, "It was more than 85 years in the making, but it is finally done." And she reports, "I cannot pass the new Westchester Memorial Fountain near the Welcome Garden at the intersection of Crestwood Lane and Mannheim Road without a smile, a genuine feeling of pride, and even a sense of Westchester history. For many years, I have driven throughout the surrounding suburbs and admired various fountains that can be seen in LaGrange Park, Hillside, and other towns as well. And yet, during all these years, Westchester did not have a landmark fountain to call its own. Most people who know the story of how Westchester became a village will remember that about 100 years ago, all of the area now known as Westchester and the surrounding suburbs was farmland. In the early 1920s, a man named Samuel Insull, who was then president of ComEd and a wealthy financier, had an idea that he would like to purchase some land and create a village, much like the rural villages in England he knew. To this end, he quietly purchased 40 acres of land centered in the general area now known as the intersection of Cermak and Mannheim Roads. A community park was planned for the village in the area bounded by Balmoral, Westchester Boulevard, Bond Street, and Cermak Road. It was here that a large, beautiful water fountain was to be placed, next to a building intended to be a spot where neighbors and friends could gather. The Great Depression of 1929 suddenly hit America and brought Insull's plans to a complete halt. It would not be until the early to mid-1940s that the economy had recovered enough for some interest in finishing the village of Westchester to develop. The community park area remained, but a fountain was never installed. President Sam Puglia has now been able to give Westchester a landmark fountain through his focus on beautification and updating for the village. With the outstanding efforts of the Public Works Department and all of the other unnamed people who shared ideas, gave generous donations, planted landscaping, and did the myriad of other things that went into seeing the new fountain through to completion, we now have a fountain in which every resident can take pride. It may be 200 or 300 feet away from Sam Insull's original planning, but it is finally a reality for residents and visitors to enjoy. I personally feel that the Westchester Memorial Fountain is in a special category of its own because it is dedicated to all our service people. They choose to go to work every day with one goal, that is to serve and protect the rest of us, such as our police and fire department members. And still others chose to protect the American freedoms we enjoy every day, such as military service members and their families as well. It is nice to see that the residents of Westchester now have a memorial fountain as a landmark, but it is even nicer to know they have chosen to dedicate the fountain in honor of the many service people who make life just a little bit better for the rest of us. Again, that was from Mrs. Barbara Lucchese, and we thank her for her lovely statement. As we took a moment of silence at the beginning of the meeting, there was a 911 ceremony this morning conducted by our police and fire personnel that I hear was a very, very moving ceremony, did a great job out there. I'll let them talk more about it when they get there. Wanted to let everybody know that we do have a photo gallery on our website, and there will be pictures of the fountain dedication, the 911 ceremony, and soon to come, some donkey baseball pictures for everybody to enjoy. A few other matters. We will be holding a flu clinic on September 24th and 25th here at Village Hall in the community room. For flu shots are $26 and will be administered by Dominic's. And they are also providing for $50 an Addicel immunization, which will protect you against whooping cough and tetanus. So please call Village Hall if you'd like to make an appointment. Walk-ins are welcome, but an appointment will guarantee your spot. We'll be holding our next ARP driver safety course on September 17th from 9 to 5 in the community room. You can also call Village Hall to reserve a spot, and seniors who complete this course do receive a discount on their auto insurance. One last thing, next Monday we will be, our new community development director will be starting. Her name is Melissa Hurd, and she is coming to us from the village of Villa Park, and we hope she will bring some great ideas as far as helping us move to the next phase in our community development in Westchester. And I think that's it for tonight.
Thank you. On the attorney's report.
I'll be making a report in executive session regarding collective bargaining. That's all.
Thank you. Board members? Anything?
I got a CAB meeting tomorrow. If anybody's interested, Eric Keeley from the Green Team will be presenting something from Energy Impact Illinois. It'll be 7 o'clock at the community room, if anybody's interested.
Frankie?
As far as the Economic Development Committee is concerned, we are still working on the bylaws for our committee. We're trying to get all the governing bodies in town to get together, talk about how we could progress through a pride campaign, business retention, strengthening relationships within the village, etc.
Wally, anything from Green?
Yes, just a reminder, this Saturday, September 15th, is the e-recycling event. And also October, the second week in October, and escapes the date, will be our last one. We'll go on hiatus due to usually holidays and weather. Not till, we'll start up again in April.
Nikki?
We had a ETSB meeting yesterday, and we're going over the sign on Balmoral and Manheim, the raising of the Westchester scrolling marquee that's over there. The scrolling marquee is rather outdated, and it appears we're going to be purchasing a full color, larger one, and it's going to be raised a couple more feet, so it'll actually be visible over the traffic light, which has kind of been blocking the view. So we had a little bit of discussion about that, and then we approved some upgrades for the Public Works radios in order to come in compliance with the FCC regulations for the narrow banding, and as well as some cameras for the squad cars, I believe. And that was pretty much it.
Good. Brian?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
And for my committee, one good thing, I'll have to make this announcement. I'll make a plug for myself. Paul's Pizza will be celebrating their 30th year, September 22nd in town. So,
Pretty nice. All right,
so please come on by and grab a bite to eat and help celebrate the day. We'll be putting on a nice little show that day, so come on over.
What day is it,
Paulie, what day is it?
It's Saturday, September 22nd.
Okay.
Is that all the free food game?
Yeah, that's very much so.
He gives away his
Very much
food
so.
or
But I would appreciate
Ice cream
that.
too?
Ice cream too, yes. And I want to thank everybody for
He's not
the,
going to see 31 at that.
yeah, how about it, huh? I'd like to thank everybody for the 30 years and hopefully, God willing, another 30 more. So that's all I have. Under the President's Report, Kathy, we have a proclamation. Would you be so kind as to read it for us?
Proclamation recognizing September 19, 2012 as No Text on Board Pledge Day in the Village of Westchester. Whereas the Village of Westchester holds the health and safety of its young adults as chief concern, and whereas text messaging is the main mode of communication for most American teenagers, with half of all teens sending between 21 and 70 texts a day, and whereas 90% of American teenagers expect to reply to a text message within 5 minutes, and whereas texting takes one's eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds, and whereas in an AT&T survey, 42% teenage drivers admitted to texting while driving, even though 97% know it is dangerous. And whereas a recent study showed those who send text messages while driving are 23 times more likely to crash. And whereas a driver that sends a text message while driving not only jeopardizes his or her safety, but also the safety of passengers, pedestrians, and other drivers. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Sam D. Puglia, President of the Village of Westchester, do hereby proclaim September 19, 2012 to be No Text on Board Pledge Day, and encourage all drivers to take the pledge to never text and drive again. Proclaim this 11th day of September 2012, Sam Puglia, President of the Village of Westchester.
Thank you. I know I skipped something. I want to go back a little bit to April. You guys, all the department heads, can you make your reports?
She's texting.
She's not driving.
What she's not driving. Yes. I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out for the 9/11 ceremony this morning. It was a beautiful day, and it went off real well. April's going to talk a little bit more about it. The other neat thing, we had some representative students from Divine Infant Providence or Divine Infant School in Westchester stop by the firehouse today, drop off a cake for us. The whole school wrote cards. We also had a 6-foot card. If you'll allow me, I'll read each card individually. But no, it was really nice. They came and they actually, we invited them to sit down and have cake at the firehouse, and the couple kids that were there with their chaperone was very appreciative. It was a good time. Raised the ladder for them, spinning around, all that good stuff. So it was just a real neat thing. All right, that's all I got.
Back to the 911 ceremony today. We had 2 young students from the area, one from Westchester, one from Brookfield. Emily Detmers, 12-year-old from Drury Lane in Westchester, performed taps and did a phenomenal job. And then we had Julia Malone, daughter of one of our employees, the Fecaratas, who did the Star Spangled Banner. And you can Google her. She's appeared at area sporting events, and just phenomenal, breathtaking. It was just really nice to see. Also, to clear the record, I wanted to note that we did do our truck enforcement. That was June 14th and 15th, and any proceeds and or citations from that would have probably been on the July monthly report, which you receive all the time. And we are currently checking any possible violations in Manchester and Bond. So far, because of our computer system, we're not locating any call-in or violations or complaints, either under code enforcement or parking violations. And I do have an officer en route to that location. Thank you.
Ann?
The conclusion to the banking services proposal will be discussed during the COW. Besides that, it's been business as usual in the finance department.
Greg?
I'm working very hard right now to find some information.
You're texting, but you're not
No,
driving.
not at
You're
all.
good,
no.
too.
Nothing other than what Nick just, we had our ETSB meeting yesterday. It was very productive. We've got some things that the chief and I will be discussing with the village manager in the very near future, and we'll come back to the board with when we have some more information on our 911 center.
Thank you. Dave?
Thank you, Paul. With work down at the fountain now behind us temporarily, I believe, and also the fuel island reopened last Tuesday, right after Labor Day, we're now focusing on crack filling. We're starting in the south central part of town, as well as paint striping continuing. We're also working on utility repairs.
Thank you. Anthony?
Okay, the much anticipated Papa John's is opening up Thursday.
We also have
We
pizzas
also
back
have
there.
Pizza that they donated to us, so everybody helped themselves. And their grand opening is 2 weeks from today.
Beautiful. Thank you. Mark, our engineer, would you like to come up and say something? I know it caught you off guard here. You didn't know.
Good evening. For this year's 2012 Street Improvement Program, we're holding the pre-construction meeting on Thursday morning with envisioning construction to begin Monday.
Very good. Thank you. All right. We will have an executive session right after our committee of the whole meeting. So at this point in time, for collective bargaining, it would be on collective negotiating matters. At this point in time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the regular board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
So, made by Trustee Yurkovich, seconded by Sloan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.